Right now, something with jaws strong enough to crack a femur is asleep on your couch. You call it a good boy. You let it sleep on your bed. You trust it around your children. And every single trait that makes that possible was inherited from an animal that, 15,000 years ago, was a full-grown apex predator standing in the dark at the edge of your ancestors' firelight, deciding whether you were food. It decided you weren't. And here's the question that should actually bother you. Lions made that same calculation around those same fires for tens of thousands of years, and never once landed on the same answer. Lions are faster. Lions are stronger. Lions are just as social, living and hunting in coordinated family groups the same way wolves do. If any predator on Earth had the raw ingredients to end up curled at the foot of a human bed, it should have been the lion. So why is every dog walking this planet right now descended from a wolf, and not one single one descended from a lion? To answer that, you have to go back further than dogs, further than farming, further than almost anything you'd call civilization. You have to go back roughly 30,000 years, into an ice age so cold it reshaped entire continents, where humans were not the top of the food chain, not even close. We were one mid-sized, moderately clever predator, sharing a frozen landscape with cave bears, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, cave lions nearly a quarter larger than the lions alive today, and wolves. Everyone was hungry. Everyone was hunting the same shrinking herds of mammoth, bison, and reindeer. And in that competition, something strange started happening at the edges of human camps. Animals began showing up, not charging in, not stalking from the tree line, just trailing behind, at a distance, picking through what humans left behind: cracked bones, stripped hides, the parts of a carcass too tough or too worthless to bother carrying home. That animal was the wolf. We have proof this relationship was already old by the time humans started writing anything down. At a site called Bonn-Oberkassel in Germany, archaeologists uncovered a grave holding 2 adult humans and a dog, buried carefully between them, roughly 14,200 years ago. Not thrown into a pit, not left where it died, buried like it mattered. Isotope analysis on its bones even suggests someone nursed it through a serious illness in puppyhood, feeding it despite it being sick and useless as a working animal for weeks. That's not the behavior of a species that just started tolerating wolves. That's a bond that had already been building for generations, maybe centuries, before this one animal ever drew its last breath. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Humans almost certainly did not domesticate wolves on purpose. Nobody walked into the Ice Age with a plan. The leading theory today is self-domestication, and it's a colder, more mechanical process than anything like choice. Wolf populations, like most animals, come with natural variation in temperament. Some wolves are highly reactive. The second a human gets within range, they bolt. Others sit further along a spectrum, calmer, more willing to hold their ground at the edge of a camp instead of running. In a world where scraps of food meant survival through a brutal winter, the calmer wolves got fed. The panicky ones didn't. Winter after winter, the animals wired to stay calm around humans out-survived and outbred the ones wired to flee. Nobody was training anybody. Wolves were quietly filtering themselves, one generation of fear removed at a time, purely because staying calm paid better than running. Now here's where lions get disqualified, and it happens before the game even starts. Lions don't have that spectrum. Their stress response to an approaching human doesn't come with a wide, gentle range of calm outliers the way wolf populations do. You can't find the chill 10% of a lion population and start quietly breeding from them, because that graded variation largely isn't there to select from in the first place. And even if it were, lion social structure works against you in a second, completely separate way. A pride isn't built like a wolf pack. It's built around a tight core of related females who stay together for life, with males rotating in and out through violent takeovers, sometimes killing the previous male's cubs outright when they do. There's no stable, non-kin leadership role sitting open in that structure. The hierarchy is rigid, blood-bound, and brutally enforced. A wolf pack, on the other hand, is built to accept a steady leader that isn't genetically related to the rest of the group at all. That's not a metaphor. That's the literal social architecture a human being was able to step directly into. Lions never had an empty leadership seat waiting for an outsider. Wolves did. Stack the rest of the evidence on top, and the outcome stops looking like a coincidence and starts looking almost inevitable. Diet. Wolves are flexible scavengers, built to survive on whatever's left. Old bones, tough hide, food a lion wouldn't touch. Lions are ambush specialists that need large, fresh kills regularly, and their bodies aren't built to thrive on leftovers the way a wolf's is. Territory. Wolf packs will shift their entire range to follow migrating prey, which meant they could follow migrating humans just as easily. Lion prides are anchored hard to a fixed stretch of land, defended violently against outsiders, wolf or human alike. Reproduction. Wolves reach maturity and breed faster than lions do, which meant that whatever selection pressure was favoring calmer, more tolerant animals could compound across generations within a single human lifetime, not several. And size at maturity mattered more than people realize. A wolf pup that never fully tamed was still, at worst, a manageable-sized problem. A lion cub that grew up wild became a 400-pound apex predator with the instincts to match. The margin for error with a half-tamed wolf was survivable. The margin for error with a half-tamed lion was not. None of these factors alone would have been enough to decide it. But wolves pass through every single filter at once, a spectrum of tameness to select from, a social structure with room for a human leader, a flexible diet, a body size that stayed forgivable even when things went wrong. Lions failed the very first filter and never even reached the rest. So it wasn't a contest humans sat down and won by picking the smarter or the friendlier animal. It was closer to a sieve. Camp-following behavior, a graded fear response, a social hierarchy with a vacant leadership role, a diet built around scraps instead of fresh kills. Only one large Ice Age predator happened to pass through all four gates at the same time. The wolf wasn't chosen out of a lineup. It was simply the only animal that qualified, and that leadership-shaped gap in the wolf's social world, the one built to accept a steady, non-kin leader, never actually closed. It's still there, running quietly in the background, every single day. It's the reason your dog checks in with you before crossing the street. It's the reason it waits at the door instead of shoving past you to eat. It's the reason a 100-pound animal with a predator's jaw will hand you a stick and just wait, tail going, for you to throw it. That behavior isn't obedience training layered on top of a wild animal. That's an empty seat in an ancient social structure, and you happen to be sitting in it. We didn't tame the wolf. We just happened to be standing in the one open space in its world that a lion never had.